On Christmas, my parents told us, no money for gifts this year. My daughter forced a sad little smile. But days later, I stumbled across my sister's social media, expensive presents, a lavish dinner, all courtesy of my parents. The caption read, Best Christmas with Family. My daughter's voice cracked as she whispered, Grandma, aren't with family too? That was the moment I knew. I told her softly, I understand. We're done. And just when I thought it was over, my parents showed up at my door, crying. In a quiet New York suburb, Amber Donovan lived with her 8-year-old daughter, Emma. Their apartment, built 2 decades ago, was a cozy home filled with love and laughter. Amber, a hard-working single mom, juggled her job at a marketing company with raising her daughter. 5 years after her divorce, the struggle was real, but seeing Emma's smile always gave her the strength she needed. Mom, I got a perfect score on my math test today. Emma would share every day after school. She was a bright, intelligent girl who excelled academically and had many friends. With her big brown eyes and long hair, she was a spitting image of her mom. That's wonderful. You're so smart. Amber would hug her daughter, making a silent promise to give her the best life possible, no matter the challenges. Amber's parents, Judith and Howard Clark, lived in a wealthy neighborhood an hour away. Howard, a retired executive, enjoyed a comfortable life with a generous pension. Judith, a former teacher, was the president of an exclusive gardening club. Amber's younger sister, Olivia, was a talented lawyer married to a doctor named Brian. They had a 6-year-old son, Michael, and lived in a luxury apartment near their parents. Olivia was a perfectionist who never compromised. Won't you come see our new vacation home? I'm heading there this weekend. Olivia's voice on the phone always had a hint of superiority. The family had always been a little off. Amber's parents, especially her mother, Judith, openly favored Olivia. When Olivia was accepted into law school, they threw a huge party. When Amber got into art college, they dismissed it as an impractical choice. Her mother's favorite phrase was, Amber, why can't you be more like Olivia? Amber was always the daughter who fell short. This pattern continued with their marriages. Olivia's lavish wedding to an elite doctor was fully supported, but when Amber married a web designer, her parents questioned if she could have chosen someone with a more stable job. The gap grew even wider after Amber's divorce. Her parents would often invite Olivia's family for dinner, showering Michael with expensive toys and a private education fund. For Emma, gifts were practical and only for special occasions. I bought Emma some workbooks. Education is important, Judith would say, handing Michael the latest gaming console. Despite this, Amber wanted Emma to have a relationship with her grandparents. Emma was a sweet child who always greeted them with a smile. Grandma, I drew this picture, she'd say, but Judith's response was always the same. That's nice, dear, before changing the subject to Michael. Amber's heart ached, but she kept her feelings to herself, making sure Emma never heard a negative word about her family. Christmas was the hardest. The elaborate parties at her parents' house were always filled with tension. The special treatment for Olivia's family was obvious, and Amber and Emma often felt like outsiders. This year, Amber hoped things would be different. Emma wanted a new doll, so Amber worked overtime, saving every penny. On Christmas Eve, Amber drove to her parents' house with Emma in the backseat, clutching a small tin of homemade cookies. Do you think Grandma and Grandpa will like them? Emma asked. Of course they will, Amber smiled, though she felt a familiar anxiety. The car entered a beautiful neighborhood in Westchester County, lit up with Christmas decorations. Mom, will Santa come to Grandma's house too? Emma's eyes sparkled. I'm sure he will, Amber replied, thinking of the Princess Stella doll she had hidden at home. When they arrived, Olivia's luxury SUV was already there. You're late, Judith said at the door. Amber smiled. I had to finish up some work. Grandma, Merry Christmas, Emma said, presenting the cookies. Judith took the tin and immediately put it on a side table. Come on, everyone's waiting. Inside, A huge Christmas tree glittered with presents underneath. Michael was playing with a new tablet. Emma, you're late, Olivia said, rising from the sofa in an expensive-looking dress. Dad and Mom were just telling Michael about his new science camp. Amber forced a smile. Dinner was a feast, but the conversation was all about Olivia's family. Michael won first prize at the science fair, Judith said. He really inherited the Clark genes, Howard beamed. Amber mentioned that Emma had won an art award, but Judith dismissed it with a Kate. That's nice, and immediately changed the subject. After dinner, it was time for presents. Michael rushed to the tree. Emma leaned forward, her eyes sparkling with hope. Michael received an electric miniature car, a new gaming console, and more. Olivia and Brian got luxury gifts. Then it was Emma's turn. She received a small package from her grandmother. Emma, I'm so sorry, Judith said, suddenly serious. We couldn't afford to buy you a present this year. The room went silent. Emma's smile faded. We have to save for our medical expenses, Howard explained. Amber trembled with anger, but stayed calm for Emma. It's okay, sweetie. When we get home, Santa will have presents for you. Emma looked sad for a moment, then gave a small smile. I understand, Grandma. Money is important, isn't it? Those words broke Amber's heart. A few days later, Amber saw Olivia's social media post. Photos showed Michael with an expensive new scooter, Olivia's family at a fancy restaurant, and a family photo with Judith and Howard smiling in front of the Christmas tree. The caption read, "The best Christmas with family. Thank you for the wonderful presents and the finest dinner." Mom, what are you looking at? Emma asked, seeing the photos on the screen. Is that Michael's new scooter? From Grandma and Grandpa. Amber was speechless, but they said they didn't have money. Emma's voice was quiet. Then, she pointed at the picture. Grandma, aren't we family too? That question shattered Amber. All the years of disappointment and anger poured out. She hugged Emma tightly. We are family, Emma. We're family on our own. Emma's shoulders shook with sadness. Right then, Amber made a decision. This had to end. The doorbell rang. It was Judith and Howard, their eyes red and swollen. Amber, we need to talk. Judith's voice trembled. They came inside, and Emma went to her room, but didn't close the door all the way. You saw Olivia's post, Judith said. Yes, Amber replied coldly. The day after you told us you had no money, you gave them lavish gifts. I can explain, Judith stammered. Explain what? How you've treated Emma and me all these years. Amber's anger finally surfaced. It's always been Olivia first. We're just an afterthought. That's not true, Howard objected. We've tried to be fair. Fair. Amber cut him off. Expensive toys for Michael, but nothing for my daughter? Where's the fairness in that? A heavy silence filled the room. We were wrong, Judith finally admitted. After seeing Olivia's post, I realized what we've been doing. I can handle how you treat me, Amber said quietly, but Emma is different. She just wanted her grandparents' love. We truly regret it. Will you let us try again? Howard pleaded. Amber looked at them. The years of how to heavy weight. I can't give you an answer right now, she said. I need time to think. Just then, a small voice came from the bedroom. Emma emerged, a look of surprising maturity on her face. Grandma, Grandpa, she said, looking them straight in the eye. If you don't love me, that's your loss. I'm happy because I have Mom. Judith burst into tears. Howard's eyes were also red. We do love you, Emma, he said, his voice choked with emotion. We just couldn't show it. Are you really sorry? Emma asked, her question simple but sharp. Can you keep your promises? Yes, I promise, Judith answered, wiping her tears away. Amber felt a surge of pride and relief. Her daughter, Emma, was strong and knew her worth. It's getting late, Amber said, standing. My daughter and I need to talk. Emma's grandparents understood and prepared to leave. At the door, Judith placed a small package on the table. This is for Emma. What I should have given her for Christmas, she whispered. After they left, Amber and Emma hugged. Are you okay? Amber asked, stroking Emma's hair. I'm okay, Mom, Emma smiled. We're a strong team, right? That night, Amber lay awake, her mind racing. Her first instinct was to cut off her parents, but she knew she had to make a calm decision for Emma's sake. The next morning at work, her boss Martha offered her a new opportunity. Amber, I think you can lead the new West Coast project. Are you interested? Absolutely. Please let me do it, Amber replied. This was a huge chance for a promotion. That weekend, Amber and Emma sat on a park bench, sipping hot chocolate. Mom, what are we going to do about Grandma and Grandpa? Emma asked. Amber wanted to hear her daughter's thoughts. What do you think? Emma pondered for a moment. I'm still mad, but everyone makes mistakes. If they are truly sorry, maybe we can give them another chance. Amber was stunned by her daughter's mature response. You're right, she said quietly. Instead of completely cutting them off, let's keep some distance and see if they can really change. For the next few weeks, Amber threw herself into the new project, working long hours and weekends. Emma understood and helped around the house. Thanks for working so hard, sweetie, Amber said one evening, seeing Emma fold laundry. I'm busy, too, Emma said proudly. I'm bigger now, so I can help. Amber also started freelancing as a web designer on the weekends, slowly building up her savings. Her goal was clear: provide a better life for Emma and prove they could be independent. She kept in minimal contact with her parents, a birthday card, an occasional phone call, but no more weekend visits. Judith and Howard wanted to see Emma, but Amber told them, we still need time. There was no contact from Olivia. Spring arrived, and Amber's project was a massive success. Martha promoted her to team leader with a 20% salary increase. That night, Amber brought home a cake. That's amazing, Mom. Emma cheered. We should celebrate. We will, Amber smiled. And I promise to make next Christmas special. Being with you is special enough, Emma hugged her. But if there's a new Princess Stella castle? She teased. By autumn, Amber's work became even busier, but it was a good change. She was respected by her colleagues, and Emma was thriving at school. She won a creative writing award and her science fair project was highly praised. My teacher said my story was really good, Emma beamed, showing her certificate. The relationship with her parents was also slowly evolving. Judith called on Emma's birthday and Howard listened with genuine interest to her stories. Amber remained cautious, wanting to be sure their change was real. In October, Amber was told she was the top candidate for a department manager position, promising an even more stable future. As Christmas approached, Amber felt confident. She bought the Princess Stella castle and planned a Christmas party with friends. Are we inviting Grandma and Grandpa? Emma asked. What do you think? Amber replied, placing the decision in her daughter's hands. I think we can invite them, Emma said seriously. Everyone makes mistakes, but they need to keep their promises. Moved by Emma's maturity, Amber picked up the phone. When the doorbell rang, she was ready. Judith and Howard stood on the porch, their eyes filled with anxiety and hope. I'm glad you came, Amber said calmly. Thank you for inviting us, Judith said softly, holding a wrapped gift. Amber's apartment was different this year. She had moved to a larger two-bedroom, and a sparkling Christmas tree lit up the living room. The walls were decorated with new paintings and Emma's artwork. Emma, Grandma, and Grandpa are here, Amber called. Emma emerged, her hair styled and wearing a new dress. Merry Christmas, Grandma, Grandpa, she greeted them. You look beautiful, Emma, Howard smiled. Your new home is lovely, Judith said, looking around. Thank you. I got promoted, so things have changed, Amber said, her voice filled with quiet confidence. Amber's friends, Karen and Jessica, and their families were already there. Everyone, these are my parents, Amber introduced them. Nice to meet you, Karen said warmly. I always hear what a wonderful mother and daughter you are. Judith's eyes welled with surprise at how loved her daughter was. The party was a success. Amber had prepared a homemade dinner, and the conversation flowed easily. Her parents slowly relaxed and joined in. Howard even bonded with Karen's husband, Mark, over sports. After dinner, it was time for presents. Emma goes first, Amber said, handing her daughter a large box. Emma carefully unwrapped it and shrieked with delight at the Princess Stella castle. Thank you, Mom, she squealed, hugging Amber tightly. Next, Judith nervously handed Emma a small box. This is from my mother to me, and now from me to you, Judith explained. Emma opened it and gasped at the beautiful silver bracelet with a star charm. You're really giving this to me? Emma asked. Yes, of course, Judith nodded. You are our precious granddaughter. A warm silence filled the room. Amber felt a wave of emotion. This was more than a gift, it was a symbol of acceptance. As the adults chatted, Amber went to the kitchen to prepare dessert. Judith followed. Let me help, she said. Amber, you're a wonderful mother, Judith said suddenly. Emma looked so happy. We were wrong. I regret how we treated you every day. Amber took a deep breath. We can't change the past, she said quietly, but the future is different. Grandparents are important to Emma. If the relationship is fair and caring, I welcome it. Tears streamed down Judith's face. Thank you for giving us a chance. When they returned to the living room, Emma was enthusiastically telling Howard about her school project. Grandpa, will you come to my next science fair? She asked. Of course, he smiled. I'm looking forward to it. When her parents left, Amber and Emma sat together on the sofa. Did you have fun? Amber asked. So much, Emma smiled, carefully holding her new bracelet. Do you think Grandma and Grandpa have changed? I think so, Amber said. The change might be small, but it's definitely a start. At the science fair, Amber was surprised to see Judith and Howard already there, waiting at Emma's booth. Grandpa, Grandma, you came. Emma ran to them. I promised, didn't I? Howard said, looking at Emma's project with pride. This is a wonderful project. As the judging began, Emma confidently presented her work. Watching her daughter's poise, Amber's heart swelled with pride. She takes after you, Judith whispered to Amber. She's inherited your intelligence and strength. Amber was taken aback. It was rare to receive such praise from her mother. Thank you. At the award ceremony, Emma was honored with the Creative Approach Award. As she walked to the stage, Amber and her parents stood up together, applauding. Congratulations, Emma, the three of them said in unison. On the way home, Howard suggested, how about dinner to celebrate? When Emma looked at Amber with hopeful eyes, she nodded. That sounds good. During dinner at the restaurant, Howard brought up a serious topic. Amber, there's something I want to talk about. What is it? Amber tensed slightly. I spoke with Olivia, Howard said. I tried to help her understand our past mistakes, but she's still finding it difficult. Amber listened silently. We've decided to love and cherish all our grandchildren equally, Judith continued. No more favorites. That's good to hear, Amber said honestly. Howard hesitated. We've opened an education fund for Emma, the same amount as Michael's. Amber was surprised. You can refuse if you want, Judith quickly added. We know you're strong and independent, but for us, we hope it can be a small apology for the past. Amber thought deeply. She would have refused before, but this was different. It wasn't just about money. It was a symbol of equal love for Emma. Thank you, Amber finally said. I'll accept it for Emma, but I do have one condition. Anything, Howard replied. We found our own happiness, Amber said slowly. So from now on, I want an equal relationship. Aid and control are different things. Her parents nodded seriously. Family means loving and cherishing each other, right? Emma suddenly said. The words held both a child's purity and remarkable insight. The four of them looked at each other and shared a quiet smile. It had been a long and difficult journey, but the true meaning of a family was finally starting to emerge. 3 years later, on a winter day in a downtown New York office, Amber Donovan was doing a final check on a new presentation. On the wall hung a sophisticated logo for Donovan Digital Marketing. Young employees were working energetically. It had been a year since Amber had launched her own company. It was growing rapidly and now employed 10 people. Her expertise and honest approach had earned the trust of many clients, and her reputation in the industry was soaring. Mom, are you finished? Emma, now 11, peeked through the office door after school. She often stopped by her mother's office. Just a little more, Amber answered with a smile. Emma had grown from a sad child into a confident, active young woman. She was developing her artistic talents, had won prizes in local piano competitions, and excelled in various fields. More than anything, her smile now held genuine happiness. Grandma and Grandpa said they've already arrived at the airport. Emma showed her phone. Tonight was the night Amber's parents were visiting New York from Florida. Judith and Howard had retired 2 years ago and moved to a warmer climate, but regularly came to visit their grandchildren. All right, let me just finish up, and we'll go get them, Amber said. Their family relationship had steadily mended. Her parents had acknowledged their mistakes and now treated all their grandchildren equally, Michael, Emma, and even little Sophia, who had been born to Olivia last year. They all received the same love. Initially, Olivia had resisted the change, confused and angry that the special treatment she'd enjoyed for years had suddenly disappeared. But over time, she began to recognize her own arrogance. Now, the sisters' relationship was also slowly improving. Amber and her parents talked on the phone once a month and spent more holidays together. Their bond wasn't perfect, but it had become healthy, based on honesty and mutual respect. That evening, Amber and Emma welcomed her parents at the airport. Was it a good trip? Amber asked, hugging them. Yes, very much so, Judith answered with a smile. She, too, had changed. Her obsession with perfection had faded, and she had become a gentler, warmer person. Later that night, during dinner at Amber's apartment, as Emma talked about her homework, the doorbell rang. Who could that be? Amber wondered. When she opened the door, Olivia, Michael, and little Sophia were standing there. Surprise, Olivia said, looking a little embarrassed. I heard there was a family gathering. Amber was momentarily surprised but quickly invited her sister inside. Of course, come in. As the night went on, the old tension dissolved, and the room was filled with laughter. Watching this scene, Amber felt proud of her choices. The most important lesson she had learned was that her worth wasn't determined by others' opinions but by her own efforts and love. With that lesson in her heart, she was walking confidently into the future.